technology is the most powerful change in the world of education.
Everything changes.
Welcome to the Emerging Technologies in Education podcast, delivered to you by Clever Books Company.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast recording interviews, Emerging Technologies in Education. And today we have a very special guest with us, Yungjin Oh, and he will be sharing his practical experience on bringing a one-on-one iPads into the classroom. And so I would like to make an official introduction of Yungjin. Hello, Yungjin.
Oh.
How are you?
Hi, Ina. Thank you for the invitation. I'm doing great. Very, very happy to be here.
Great. Thank you that you're with us today. And it would be great if you can briefly introduce yourself, where you're located and which school you're working at, and also kind of briefly your opinion about immersive tech in education.
Sure. My name's Jung Jin Oh. I'm originally from the US. I grew up outside of Philadelphia. But now I'm working in Triesen, Liechtenstein. I am the director of the primary school. And also I wear a second hat as a director of technology. And we are a bilingual school. So we have English and German in the primary school. And as you go up to the middle school and high school, we introduce French and then Latin and Spanish. So our focus is on languages. And I have the very interesting commute. I live in Austria and I drive through Switzerland and into Liechtenstein.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, very interesting.
Every day, quite an interesting commute across the border, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic. And I think the one question that's probably many people would be interested to ask, Liechtenstein is quite a small country. And how far is it with the technology in education, specifically in the classroom for primary years or all the way through all the grades?
That's a good question. I also didn't answer your original question as far as do I support technology integration in the classroom? Yes, 100%. And when I first started here and I took over as the primary school director, we had the traditional, the classic formula of having a computer room, and they were all Windows PCs. We had maybe 12 computers, which was shared across the entire school, from primary school to high school. And when I took over, I decided, hey, I would like to bring in my own iPad, just my private iPad, see how that works in the primary school. And I realized, I can do a lot. And I had an Apple iPad. And back then, this was 6 years ago, the Apple universe really had more for the education world than the Androids and so on. So I was very happy with what I could do. And the next step realistically was, okay, well, the students also I need some technology because I only had one iPad to share around with the entire class. So the next step was to ask the kids to bring in their own device, their own private devices. And so we got a whole mixture of devices from, Samsung tablets to iPod Touch to iPads and so on. And that was a very interesting time for me to manage all these different devices. And then it's like a virus. It started catching on. The kids really appreciated technology coming into classroom. We did a lot of great stuff that we couldn't do before. And then we moved on. This was probably the third, fourth year. All kids started bringing in their own devices, but because it was very difficult to manage all the different operating systems for me, I am just a normal teacher. I'm not a tech freak. I'm not trained as a IT professional. I'm just a normal teacher who's very interested in technology. So for me, it was very difficult to handle all the different operating systems at once and also teach at the same time because there's always problems with devices. So we decided to go Apple, BYOD device. And then that evolved into becoming a one-to-one because our board of directors, I talked to them. They said, okay, let's go further. and now it's become one-to-one school. So currently now we are one-to-one in the primary school, middle school, and also the high school. We were one-to-one, but then after 2 years, the high school decided we need actually laptops because the tablets, the iPads are really too small to work with at that high school level. So we are one-to-one through elementary school, middle school, and the high school is a bring your own laptop.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So back to your original question about Liechtenstein and technology. It's not as advanced as I know in the US as well as in the UK too. They're much further along than where we are here in Liechtenstein. And I can also talk about Vorarlberg, which is the western part of Austria, and the eastern part of Switzerland, which is St. Gallen, Zurich, and Chur, in that area too.
Mm-hmm.
It's all coming along. The interest is there, and the politicians are stepping in that we need to move these countries forward with technology, but they're not as far as, for example, the US.
Okay, I see. And what is your practical experience in the difference between the public and the private school sector when it comes to this one-on-one iPad programs in school?
Yeah, it's very different because we are a small private school, but we do have recognitions from the Department of Education in Liechtenstein. So our school curriculum has to match one-to-one with the public schools. But because we're a private school and because we are the whole day, from the morning and afternoon, we have a lot more time and a lot more room to play around with things. And we are not really governed by the Department of Education. So when we want to implement a new project, for example, technology, one-to-one iPad, we could move a lot faster because we just have to talk to the board and get their approval. Obviously, we have to organize our own budget. We don't have as much funding as the public schools. So as long as we are within our budget, we can move forward with what the project we're very interested in. So we were able to move very, very fast with development of technology compared to the public school. And also we're very small. We have a total of 100 students and 25 teachers. So, I mean, the public schools is much larger. So to manage all of that would be a lot bigger task. So for us, it was just as you say, a perfect storm. Everything was perfect. We were small. We were able to manage the budget, got approved from the board, and then we were able to move forward.
Right. So I guess you have a little bit more flexibility than the public school sector.
We do. And I know with some contacts in the public school, there are teachers just like me who started with their own iPad in the classroom. And then it doesn't get as far as fast because they have to go through a lot of different channels and eventually go up to the Department of Education and get approval from them. And all of that gets very, very tricky. There's a lot of political red tape you have to cut through. And here at a private school, at least at our private school, we're able to cut through that pretty fast.
Right. Okay. And when you decided to start one-on-one program, and so now that you've implemented that, what would you say are the main advantages of such program for a school?
Yeah, there's a lot of advantages. I could go on for hours. But what I find which is special at our school is because we are small and very family-like, the communication between the school and the parents, for example, teachers and parents, students and parents, students and teachers, has been incredible just because of technology. We are able, parents these days are really interested in what's going on with their child in the classroom. And with certain apps, it's very, very easy to take a picture, to even take a video for the kids, even to reflect and talk about their quiz they just took, how they did, and all that can be sent directly to the parents, to their smartphone. They get beep, beep, a little notification, something was posted on their account, and they can have a look and see their child talking to them and or even showing some work they did in the classroom. So that has been a huge plus with using technology at our school. The parents are very, very pleased to be informed and have an idea of what we are doing throughout the week. And also for teachers, for us, to communicate with the students, it makes it a lot easier too. We are able, with students that are sick, we can prepare stuff that we did during the class and then just email it to them or upload it through these apps. and the sick child can see, okay, this is what they did, no problem. So the communication, technology can really help with communicating between all the parties involved, and that has been really great for us.
Right. I've also heard you've mentioned that the information and the communication between the parents and the teachers is quite good with the technology. But I know that some parents are always a little bit reluctant in terms of how much the kids use technology in the classroom,
Oh,
because
yes.
the technology influence in general in their lives, everyday lives. So how did you overcome that, or are there any parents who are concerned about it, or how are they in general looking at the whole technology integration in school?
Right. When I started this program with just my own iPad, and then we had to bring your own device, that's when the parents starting to get very uncomfortable with the idea. Because at home, all they saw was their child consuming, playing
Right.
games, watching YouTube, watching films, and it was just a toy. And so the idea of, oh, technology, now you're bringing the same tablet, which I saw my child playing and just sitting there, now you're bringing it into the school. So there was a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of angst towards this whole program. So what's really important is I brought in the parents and I showed them exactly what we are doing with this. And that really changed their opinion of it. Of course, I went through actual class. I taught English to them with these devices, and they said, wow, okay, I learned a lot pretty fast. And that was a pleasant experience. It wasn't just the classic teaching, the frontal teaching where the students are quiet and I'm just talking, and whatever I say, you learn. So they saw the positive experience of a tablet or technology in the classroom. And that really helped. That alleviated a lot of the worries from the parents. But of course, it's constant. There's always talking to parents about screen time. I'm also a parent, so I'm aware of that also, that it is dangerous. And I fully agree with it. So that's why we do have a balance. We are not a school where we just use the iPads all the time and the kids just stare at a screen. We are fully aware of that. We have a good balance. So basically, on average, the kids spend about an hour, maybe an hour and a half through a full day of school from 8 o'clock to 3:30 in the afternoon.
Right. So it's the matter of using technology strategically to supplement the curriculum. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. To enhance it, yes. Because we were able to do stuff we couldn't do before. And so it's also the parents are fully aware of it and they're informed, which is really important. So they have an understanding. And the parents really, really are happy that their child is using it in a positive, effective way, because a lot of these parents are working. They see that they do need technology to work. And before, the kids were just using technology to play. But now they're going home, and now parents are seeing that the kids are working with technology and learning from technology. And a lot of parents agree that's the future, is that the children need to be able to work with technology and learn with technology, because they do so in their own daily lives. So that was a real game changer. It's just informing the parents, making them understand that we are going to use it as a device to work.
Okay, that's quite right. And in regards to how teachers actually have perceived the whole technology integration program, because I have heard from other educators that quite a few teachers are sometimes reluctant about use of technology in the classroom. Yep. So how did you overcome that challenge, if there was one?
Yes. Oh, no, there definitely was one.
Okay.
I think my experience is very similar to a lot of your listeners' experience with starting a one-to-one tablet school, is that you have to battle parents and also within your own education institution, the teachers. And my way is just be open and inform them and let them know these are the benefits. So they have a pedagogical understanding why we're doing this. It's not just an expensive calculator that they're just getting. There is a proven reason why we're going to do this. And it is very difficult. And what it does is, my advice, my experience is, it takes time, patience. That was my job. to talk to the teachers and to sit with them one-on-one and to design a lesson. Like, okay, we're going to do a geography lesson. I'll sit with you. We'll plan it together. I know these apps, or like, I know this strategy. We can do these programs here. I will be with you when you teach it in the classroom. So if there's any tech problems, I'll be there to help you. And then, so that really helped them, because a lot of teachers, it's just being scared.
Right.
They're very concerned. What am I going to do? So if you alleviate all this, this worries, say, okay, I'll be there, I'll help you transition. Then after that first lesson, the kids say, wow, hey, teacher, that was great. And they say, wow, okay. And there is positive feedback from using technology. That was my first lesson. I want to do some more. Then it's like a spark. Then they get curious about it and they try on their own. Of course, I'll continue to help them. And that was a key for me. There always will be teachers who are against it. And that's my job to convince them. After several years, I'm still working with some. But then again, and I understand too, as the technology director, whoever is doing this program needs empathy, because teachers, we are very concerned about our teaching. And when someone comes in our class and says, okay, this is wrong, this has to change, we get very offended. And so that's basically what a lot of teachers thought I was doing, saying, here's this device, let's start using it. And what's the matter with my teaching? What did I do wrong? Is my teaching bad? No, it's just, this is our school concept.
Right.
And you're working at our school, and being a private school is a lot different than the public school, because we hired them and they're there for a reason, because we believed in them, that they'd follow our school concept. And after 2-3 years, we keep working together. And if it unfortunately doesn't work, it usually comes from the teacher side saying, I'm sorry, this is not the school for me. You guys are moving ahead doing this. I want my chalk. I want my blackboard. That's what I want. And I'm sorry, that's not our school. So then we come usually to a friendly agreement that both parties tried, and they move on, unfortunately. But that has happened. Not often. But just in one case that happened.
Interesting. That's quite an interesting point of view, and I totally agree that the leadership has a certain vision where the educational institution should be and how the kids should learn to make sure that it's beneficial to their future as well.
Right, and as a leader, you have to pass on that vision and make it clear to everyone so they understand the vision. And with the transparency, and I think that helps with making a huge change in your whole school, is that
Right.
it's all clear and it's all communicated clearly, and also allow an opportunity for people to get angry about it. That's important. I think my skin got a lot thicker throughout this experience, because it's good when people are allowed the opportunity to say, hey, this is not right. Good, tell me why this is not right. And then have a discussion, not coming from the top down saying, this is our technology concept, deal with it. That doesn't work.
Okay. It's a constant communication and the balance between the challenges and also the rewards that can come out as a result of integration of technology.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. And you did mention how teachers and how parents look at the whole concept of integrating a one-on-one program, but how did actually the kids perceive that?
Yeah, your questions are great, and you're hitting right to the point. This is the third important part of the formula, because a lot of people think, oh, these are digital native children. They know exactly what to do. They know how to open the iPad and then go right to the word processing program and start writing. They do not. Through my experience, their experience is very limited, just as I said before, consuming. They like to watch videos and play some games. So again, this third party, the students, need to be taught. They need time also to learn that this is a device to work with, not just to play with. The students also need to learn and find the benefits as well. And just like the parents, just like the teachers, there are students who said, I don't like this. I want, for example, to write on paper again, or I don't want this constant technology communication between me and the teacher. And that's okay too. But yeah, my experience was that that students need time also. So this whole change with technology, the whole process takes years. and a lot of patience and a lot of communication to make it work. So the students need to be aware. They're just as important as the teachers and the parents and the management team and the board. Everyone needs to get on board, and everyone needs to be aware of what's going to happen, what's going on. And I think students do value that they're part of the process as well.
Right, because if you, as you mentioned before, some teachers don't know how to do it; they're reluctant, and at the same time to use the technology. At the same time, the kids also, even if they're digital natives, they don't fully understand the whole structure of how to use the technology specifically. So then it becomes a disbalance between the teachers are not, don't really know how to teach correctly, and the kids don't know how to utilize the devices.
Right.
So, and then what you say now, it's a whole team work at the end of the day to make sure that everyone is working together to make it happen.
Yes, exactly. But it's really not like that idea is great, but the implementation, wow, it was not easy. It takes a lot of energy and time and stress to get all these parties communicating, everyone agreeing that this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. So, but if you were to look back now and define three main challenges that you come across in integration of this one-on-one program, what would they be?
The first one is budget. And people think, okay, budget, how much does this device cost? That's the last step. You need a technology budget to first infrastructure, because these devices work well if you only have Wi-Fi. So you have to look at your infrastructure and really build a fast and reliable wireless connection across the entire institution. Also need to put the budget aside for professional development for the teachers, as well as the management team. And so there's a lot of budget that goes into different things. And then, of course, the devices are also important. So the problem number one would be budget, how to figure out where the money is going to come from, and also to think about it's not just devices for the budget. Second thing is laying out a strategic plan and how long this will take. Because unfortunately, there are some schools I know of nearby Switzerland. They got a nice grant from the Department of Education, said, great, we're getting 5,000 iPads. Here we go. Great, everyone's excited. Yes, this is excellent. And then they just dropped them off, said, okay, start. And that's the wrong approach. So my second biggest problem is time. There's no rush. And if you want to rush it, you got to start planning years ahead of time, at least a year, and getting everyone on board, getting everyone informed, updating the teachers, getting them ready too, because they're the ones who are going to be using these devices. So just dropping it off. If you got the budget, great. And the next day or the next month, here are your devices. You need time to really plan and what you're going to do with this and inform all the parties involved. And the third thing, obviously, is involved with time, is talking to all the parties involved, right, and creating, getting agreement from the board to the parents, the teachers, students, and also now your classroom environment is going to change. It's a whole shift in pedagogy, a whole shift in power, and the teachers as well as the management need to be aware of that. Because a classic classroom, if you really want to do it right, is not just a normal looking classroom with the board in front and the teachers in the front and the kids watching the teacher. The whole, with the potential, would change the whole structure of your classroom, where you need a more flexible learning environment, where you can say, okay, we're going to move to this area, we're going to go outside, or we're going to have a discussion here, then move here, because this device has a lot of power and you just can't just sit at a desk and use it. So that takes a long, long time too, to get everyone aware of this whole shift.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Yes.
It's great to hear, that there are, even if there are challenges, there is still quite rewarding, to see the final outcome. But if we were to look at, because you've gone through this program, and if we were to look at the three main benefits that will be at the end waiting for the educators once they implement that successfully, what would they be for you?
One is I find with the use of technology, because they're able to produce things, that in my opinion, they're preparing themselves for the future. And I know this 21st century skills and so on gets tossed around a lot, but I really agree with that, because here in Liechtenstein, in this area, it's a very, very small area, but a lot of great international companies. And we had a digital summit, and there are a lot of CEOs at this event, and they talked about the biggest issue is finding workers, graduates of high school, to come and work at their company, because they are great. They're really smart. They can memorize stuff. Their grades are excellent, but they are not creating stuff. They're not problem solving correctly. They're not critically thinking. They are very, very intelligent with, okay, here's this book, read the book, learn the book, you're done. And for them, it's easy. But all these companies looking for, okay, out of the box thinkers. We have a problem with creating this product. How can we fix it? So all of these skills are essential for us to teach, starting right at the elementary school and going through the middle school and the high school. Problem solving, critical thinking, collaboration, sharing, creativity. And with technology, we're able to touch upon all of these skills. So that's number one for me. The benefits for the students is that they're able to create these skills that can really help them in the future.
So this is one of the probably the main ones that you would point out. Is there anything else?
Yes, of course. The second thing is for us as teachers, what I find the huge benefit is we have mixed age classes because we're small. But this also pertains to classes. It's a class of grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Is that it's very easy with technology to differentiate and to individualize your lesson plans, because within the class there's a wide spectrum. There's kids who move fast, who need more input. There's kids who are a little slower and need a little extra support. So I found with technology, I can really reach all of them. Of course, it's not a perfect system. It's not a magic pill. But what it does is, without it, I notice that I have a lot more trouble and the efficiency to really reach these kids at all levels. But with technology, and because we're one-to-one, I can send this activity to them, this activity to them, this project to them. And really, no one really knows that, okay, well, Ina, you're really, really fast. You get some really advanced stuff, and Jung Jin's really, really slow, and he gets a little slower stuff. No one really knows. So they work at their own tempo. And I found that really focus on the student. So this class is now student-centered learning, where the teacher is able to really focus on each student and support them in what they need. And that is a big plus with technology. And that's something that before technology I was teaching was a lot harder and was a lot more time-consuming. Yes, we could have done it, but now it's a lot faster. So as a teacher's point of view, I save time with my lesson plans, because it's very easy for me to create these lessons for a different group of kids and then shoot it to their iPads, airdrop them, send them, boom, and then they're on their way. And also a benefit is while they are working, because now it's not frontal teaching anymore, I can cruise around and talk to the kids who really need some help. So I can focus exactly on what the student needs, rather than just teaching my math lesson for 45 minutes, just talking. So I find that a huge benefit as well for the teachers. And the third thing I think we touched on already was the transparency, the communication with the parents. That has been a big plus for us at this school.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like those benefits are worth the try.
Yes, definitely worth the try. I am sure there's schools who are considering, or in teachers just trying in their own classroom, do it. And enjoy it. There are lots of pitfalls and there's lots of stress. But in the end, we became teachers for the students. And yes, it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, but at the end, the results are impressive, and it benefits the students.
Absolutely. So if we were to wrap up with maybe one main suggestion that you will give to educators who are just about to start or thinking of starting to implement one-on-one program, what would you suggest to them?
I would first suggest talking to your managers about your idea, and show them, listen, I'd like to bring in my personal tablet, or to start teaching with technology, and get their approval. Once you got their approval, you're ready to go. And then it is just trying. One little thing can help. Just for example, when I first started, I got rid of my board and I just took did all my lesson plans on my iPad and connected to the Beamer, and that's how I taught. And that was my first step. That wasn't the potential. I didn't use it all yet, but at least I started. That's a first step and something to be proud about. Every little step is good, and there is no end to it. It's just a start. And also, so just start with just teaching a little bit from your one iPad, you with a Beamer, and showing, okay, instead of using the chalk and board, I use my iPad and write on that and take all my notes on it, and then the kids can see it. That's a great start.
Right. So start small, but think big, right?
Exactly. That's right. That's right. And then see the future. I mean, start planning stuff out. Okay, and in after this year, I want to be here, and in 2 years, I want to be here, and laying out a plan. And then as it gets really popular, which it will, then you need the management's help to get involved with a strategic plan.
Absolutely. So at the end of the day is how can the technology be integrated strategically, how it can help the kids to develop or empower the skills, like you mentioned, critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, and how to make sure that the technology can accommodate the personalized learning for every child according to their needs. And at the end of the day, help them to excel and to be ready for the future workforce.
Yes. Yes, correct.
Okay. Well, Yungjin, thank you very much for being today with me. It's
Ina,
been an
thank you so
absolute
much.
pleasure.
Yeah, good. I enjoyed this very much.
Yes. Thank you for everything that you mentioned and for sharing your professional experience and your experience on integrating one-on-one program. And I'm sure that would be useful for many educators. And if they will be interested to contact you, we'll leave all your details. And if there's any other information that you would like to add, we can also put it under the podcast interview.
That's great. Thank you so much, Ina.
Thank you. And it's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Everything changes.